Okay, so today I'm going to be running through the activity 1, the effect of enzyme concentration on reaction for the enzyme lab that we're working on in class. For those of you that were virtual, this is part 1. So what I have to work with is starch, diastase, the iodine indicator solution, and deionized water. So the first thing that I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to create or add 1 drop of enzyme into each of the 12 spots. So I'm going to do that right now. And then the next thing that I have to do is I have to add 4 drops of deionized water to each of the wells. So that looks like this. Couple more. Okay, so now the next thing that I have to do is I have to go ahead and I have to add 1 drop of starch to each of the wells. And at that point, I'm going to start with a stopwatch. Stopwatch. So I'll be, every 30 seconds, I'll be checking in on that stopwatch. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add that 1 drop of starch. Okay, and now that I've added the 1 drop of starch, I'm going to add iodine solution at 0 at a time mark of 0. So here's my first. So that's my time mark of 0, and now I start timing. So now we have to wait 30 seconds, and after 30 seconds, we're going to add the iodine indicator solution to the next well spot. I realize that this is long and boring, and well, that is this part of the lab. So it is approximately 30 seconds. I'm going to add a drop right now. And I just spilled some iodine, so that's not good. So I'm going to go run and grab a paper towel quick. Scooping that up, I'm going to get ready to add another drop. And so what we're looking for here is we're looking for a change in color to go from this black or brownish to turn into a yellow-orange. So here's another drop. It still looks pretty black-brown to me, so we're going to keep going. And we're just going to continue this process until we are all done. Here's another drop. And it still is telling me that there is what appears to be starch present. definitely still starch present, so I'm going to continue adding. And here we go, next one. And again, it's still pretty dark, so that tells me that there's still a lot of starch present. And what's happening here that we have to think about is the fact that the enzyme itself is working on breaking the starch down. And when it's working on breaking the starch down, what we end up with is eventually some smaller simple sugars. Here we go for another one. And hopefully what you're noticing is that the amount of starch or the amount of dark seems to be becoming smaller and smaller over time. And that's kind of the point of this particular part. More to go. I'm just swirling it to make sure that it gets reacted. And what it looks like to me is that it is definitely starting to lighten up. Oh, no. It's definitely starting to lighten up at this point. So I'm going to do one more. And we'll stop. All right, so in this situation, it looks like we have the dark, and it gets lighter, lighter. So this would be, so this spot right here would be 30 seconds. This would be 60 seconds. This would be 90 seconds. This would be 120 seconds. This would be 150 seconds. This would be 180 seconds. This would be 210 seconds. This would be 240 seconds. This would be 270 seconds. This would be 300 seconds. And this would be 330 seconds. So in this scenario, you had 1 drop of enzyme, 4 drops of DI water, and 1 drop of starch. And that's what it should look like.